Recording. Okay, so if by any chance the electricity will stop working, because this has been happening today, never happened in the last month. However, we've been getting this power outages. If that happens, my Wi-Fi is still going on because I have it from my phone, but you will not see me. Yes, Mercury retrograde, I've been there. So you will not see me. Do not panic, like we're still in a space of silence, even if we don't see each other. That's the point. And let's try to also have fun with it. I'm gonna start sharing my screen because I prepared something for us. I prepared a short presentation. And obviously, I had to go through a massive ego death in the last 24 hours after I've done the presentation, talking about the moon. So let's see if we keep to that or not. Like the space is open. Share. Okay. Do you all see the screen? I hope you do. If not, because I don't see you, but if not, please unmute yourself. Thank you, Miriam. Please unmute yourself and just let me know. I can't see you. I can't feel you. I can't hear you, whatever. Rest in silence. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What is rest in silence? What is silence? There are so many words to describe silence, but as Rumi said, it's just every single word is just a bad translation. And I'm sure you've heard about this quote, right? Where silence is the only truth, and silence is the closest thing to God, as Eckhart Tolle said. So when we rest in silence, what do we actually do? We allow our nervous system to be exactly where it is. And this is the part with rest. I've been in so many containers, communities, spiritual communities. I've worked with guides and with therapists in the last 3 years since my awakening. I think you can see it on my face. I'm just like, and everybody has, I feel, a lot of people have an agenda and a framework of how to do the meditation or how to heal or how to awaken to the truth of who you are. So there's always a plan, right? And I want us to drop the plans, to drop the knowing mind, just for a bit. I had to get very comfortable with the not knowing, because my looping, my patterning is that I want to know. And not only for me, I know that everyone wants to know, to understand. Because if I understand what silence is, if I understand what space I'm going in, if I have a structure for the presentation, then I, the character, will be comfortable. Because there is no room for mistake. There is no room for just fucking it up or getting into a space of like, I don't know what to say. I don't know who I am. I don't know how to be. And so what we do usually, we outsource. And this is what we started doing a lot. I felt for myself and the collective, we started outsourcing our wisdom, our own truth to different people. It's not to say that the therapists, the gurus, the astrologers, they don't have a very important point of view. The only problem is when we take that point of view and we make it our own truth. And we don't hold on to our sovereignty and to ask ourselves, is this my truth as well? So this is why Rest in Silence was born, because I noticed these things of just like, oh, ChatGPT, give me this. Or like, oh, I need to, and I notice it for myself. Oh, 2026, I want to ask an astrologer, like what's coming up for me. So I made it a vow to to show up as I am, because as I am right now, right here, is perfect. I'm okay. However, with trauma and with a very dysregulated and traumatized nervous system, it's hard to not only be in silence, but be in silence and hear your truth, hear your version of the story, hear your point of view, which is so important. I hope you can feel that. I hope that it resonates. You know, we want to quantum jump all the time, shift into a new identity. So we do all these meditations and we recognize that, wait a second, there's always a doer, there's always a doing. And it's perfect, but can we also drop in the non-doing? In the state of silence, in the state of allowing for just what is. And if we just allow ourselves to hold that space, it's so damn powerful. Not only to hold space for our own truth, for our own hearts, our own reality, but we can learn how to hold space for another. And when we can learn how to hold space for another without overriding their field, then magic happens. Then you don't have to be identified with the healer, with the guide, with the whatever. You can just be. And you allow things to happen. You allow life to show you. Individuation happens naturally. We don't have to force a flower to, to pull on the petals to open. We go slower. It's what we were doing in the cauldron path. We move a little bit slower. So this is just an introduction of what I feel right now, and my intention for tonight is that you get a sense of that. You get a sense of, I'm good, it's good. Yes, there is phenomenon. Yes, a lot of things are changing. I see the mind. I see the impermanence. I see the chaos, the game, right? But that's perfect. It's all good. And you are perfect. Okay, beautiful people. Let's just drop into silence then. Let's just drop into the body. The body. We try to escape. It's so funny. We try to escape the body, and in alchemical path, right? We start with the body. That's the matter. That's the lead that we're trying to transform into gold. But the eighth step in the alchemical path is again the body, coming back to the body. So let's just drop into the body. I invite you to close your eyes. If you feel safe, comfortable, or lower your gaze, whatever feels good for you. And in this space, for a moment, just be here now. Be here now. Allow your sitting bones to be heavier. Allow gravity to work for you. Again, we do not need to sit up straight. But in this space, we just allow the body to just be, to rest. Lean back a little bit. I'm inviting you to breathe a little bit deeper, making the exhales longer. Breathing through the nose. And if you so choose, you can exhale through the mouth, making it 20% longer. Inviting you now to unclench your jaw. And let your tongue fall from the roof of your mouth. And know that tiny adjustments make all the difference. You can feel that you are here. Allowing your shoulders to just melt a little bit more, maybe 5% more. Even if just imagining that. Knowing that your body and your nervous system do not need perfection. They just need your presence. That's it. Just your presence. Feel your belly softening. Even if it's a micro softening, just let it go. And don't forget, we are exhaling a little bit longer. Not performing anything, just natural. Observing how that changes you. And now bring your awareness to that moment after you exhale. There's this tiny pause. It's a gap. And that gap is just one doorway to silence. There's nothing dramatic about it or mystical. It's just simple. It's simple and honest. It's honest. Then see if you can rest in that silence, in that tiny pause. And we're not trying anything, not trying to stay here for a long time. Just see if you can find that space. And maybe there is a noticing that the mind is slower now. It loosened its grip. And if it didn't, that's okay. You feel how this door has softened a little bit. And if there are thoughts, emotions, physical sensations that are coming up, you can give yourself permission to notice them and let them fall away. There is no resistance to what is. Silence just is. You notice how silence is not the absence of sound or phenomena in the mind. It's just the absence of pressure, the absence of resisting, of pushing away or craving and clinging. And you feel a sense of slight ease, knowing that you can stop. There is nothing to improve anymore. Nothing to do to understand. It just is. And you just are. Now slowly feel the weight of your body again. Maybe your feet on the floor. Your sitting bones on the chair, on the bed. And you notice your breath again. And now I'm inviting you to bring some movement into the body from this place of more stillness, more silence. to start moving your body, whether in pelvic circles or rolling your shoulders. Drawing circles with your nose, opening up your neck. And knowing that whatever comes, whether it's a yawn, burping, farting, whatever it is, it's perfect because we are moving energy, and this is what silence does. And you can also gently open your eyes if you haven't done so. And just move. And with this movement, notice if you can keep the same quality of presence, of stillness, of silence that we've cultivated. Notice if you can feel a little bit more, maybe just 20% more. And I hope it's not the headache. I'm inviting your inner healer. We've activated our inner seer, and now your inner healer to come forward and to tell you what you need in this moment. What kind of movement? What kind of gesture? Just do whatever feels right. Maybe it's caressing of your body, a gentle nudge that you are safe, and it is safe for you to be here. It is safe for you to soften, to stop seeking, stop running, stop searching. Oh, or maybe you feel activated and you need to shake. You need to dance. You need to be weird. No cameras here. All is welcome. Ooh. It's knowing that the more that you can be present in this container for the next hour, the more that you will get out of it. Okay. Coming into a space of stillness again, slowly. And just notice the quality of awareness that is here. Just observe what shifted, what changed. It's very important for us to become aware of the transitions, of the changes, even slight, subtle changes in our nervous system. And I'm inviting you to look around your room. Just look left, up, and notice 3 things in your room and their color. So just notice and say, ah, I see the curtain and it's brown. Ah, TV, okay. And you can do it with more than 3 objects. This is another way to drop into the parasympathetic nervous system. But also if you, for example, ever have the tendency to dissociate, and this usually happens with a traumatic nervous system, it's very good to let our systems know that we are safe here by doing this exercise with no meaning, right? I'm not giving any meaning to the curtain. There's no story. Just letting the system know that you are here, you are safe, and you sense the space around you. Right? You notice sounds. Maybe after silence, you see things differently. You see more colors. I don't know. For everyone is different. And that's beautiful. Inviting you to put into the chat what changed for you, what shifted regarding your awareness. Is it lighter, softer, wider, heavier, neutral, more spacious, more contracted? Just the first thing that comes. So much more focused, softer surroundings, more realistic, without my preconceived associations. Good. Sharper focused, more color, vibrant, vibrancy. Yeah. Relaxed. Beautiful. Oh my God. Just acknowledging, tasting matcha. I'm not sure if my character still likes this taste. Thank you, Patty. More fluid in my body and breathing. Good. Relaxed. My flowers look more vibrant. I love that. I'm in an Airbnb and my flowers are all fake. Okay. So I think we're ready to move on. And before we do move on, I want to show you something. It's this one here with a few pictures about synchronicities. So I don't know if you're familiar with the term, but I'm sure you are. When we drop into the space of silence, stillness, presence, we open our field to receive synchronicity. And not only that, but we also trust that if we do follow the synchronicity, like I was on this journey for a few years, it will lead us exactly where we're meant to be, with much less struggle and force. right? So the first one, the first picture is about a praying mantis. I dreamt about the praying mantis and my friend showing it to me. And then I woke up and I told her the dream, and she was just holding a praying mantis. Mantis? Praying mantis. Then walking on the street, I saw this car and it said United Parts. And I was literally thinking about parts work and internal family systems, how it's so in line with what I teach in the space of silence. And then I saw the United Parts and I booked an Airbnb for today. And with the third image, it had my logo on the floor. Never seen that. And it's beyond beautiful. The third one is, the fourth one, sorry, is the human design chart, is the transits of today. I don't know if you know about human design, and I'm very happy to dive deeper at some point with you. But basically, it tells you what gate in Jinkies the sun is transiting and the moon and where the North Node is and so on. So for example, today the sun is in Jinki 5, which is the timing, the right timing, and trusting the timing. And Jinki 35 is hunger for new experience that comes from silence and stillness, which is very beautiful. And then we can, in human design, we can also see the loops, like there are these loops that, bounce from one Jinki to another, and you have that in your chart, right? I have, for example, the loop, let's say 2461, right? So I'm always constantly in the mind, and I can see that. And lastly, we have the white spectral mirror. And the mirror is, well, it's a perfect metaphor for reflection and silence, but spectral is about liberation and liberating, what's holding us back from accessing that space of silence and stillness. So yeah, I wanted to share that with you and to invite you or to make you think, like, what kind of synchronicities did you experience today? What did you notice, today or in the last week? And it's really interesting to have a journal where you notice synchronicities. So I wanted to share about this, what you just experienced in silence. And this is literally, as I said, we might not even go through these things. I will post the presentation. I will send it to you afterwards if, for the knowing mind to kind of understand. I've been working for the last few months or years on this, to just be in silence, right, in the direct awareness, but then also to understand it with the mind and to communicate like what exactly is happening. So what is very important is that you arrived in the body. And this is whenever you go into your own silence, into a silence retreat or into a space, for example, you take a break, a pause from work, you put your timer on 5 minutes. The most important thing is that you drop into the body, because we go from gross to subtle. So we see, okay, what parts are present? I'm going to talk about parts, but basically, like, okay, if there is a pain in the shoulder, or you're clenching your fists without knowing, it's very hard for you to drop into silence without first bringing awareness, the seer, to that space. And so what we also did is this natural pattern interrupt. This is very important, and that's why I feel silence is vital moving forward for us, and cultivating a space of silence and having a deeper relationship to it, because we're interrupting our identity, and there are people here that have gone through plant medicine or ego deaths, but we don't need to do that. We don't need to force it in that way, to just put the dynamite for the ego and for the self for the false self structure. We don't need to do that. However, we can gently come back to the true self. And this is the natural pattern interrupt. And so your nervous system in that space dropped from doing, like thinking, feeling. It slowly dropped into just being here. Okay, I'm here. Or letting your nervous system from a fight, flight, or collapse, wherever you are, letting it know that it is safe to be here. There was nothing to fix, nothing to manage, no identity to perform. And maybe you also noticed, this is what I noticed for myself, the breath softened on its own. Even if I don't go into guided meditation, if I allow silence to be here and I'm just sitting here for like 10 minutes without any agenda, without any guided meditation, without any plans of like, I will go through the steps or visualize this thing or whatever, open these portals. I just am. And in the space of allowing, the breath is softening. And, you know, the ego or the identity or it just, even the parts, like they, in time, they step aside, you know, they give you space. They give space for the inner seer, the witness, to come online. And so a lot of us, we are on autopilot. And many times I think, oh, I'm there. I'm so conscious right now, you know. And I have the power to choose my reality in every single moment. I'm so conscious. However, 90% of our world happens in the subconscious and in the unconscious, right? Like it's about the moon. So we do not dissociate, but we allow the material of the unconscious to come up. We give it space, we give it time. As beautiful Gwyn said at some point, we're going into a meditation and I asked, what was the most powerful for you? Was it the guided meditation, the visualization, the breathing? No, just yes, but the most important was time. I gave it time, time to just be. And we're not dissociating. And I will go, I mean, I've been there, you know, most of my life. I've had tea with dissociation. Sometimes I still do. But I will talk about that and my work and what I do and how I guide is aimed to be trauma informed. So silence is the foundation for deeper work. And when I say deeper, you know, things can come up from the past. And when your nervous system finally relaxes, there's a lot of things that you might see that you're not comfortable with. And that's okay. And that's also okay. So it resets the nervous system, basically. It's very simple. I don't know if you noticed. It's very simple, and we are not used to simple. We are used to complex things in our reality. We have a billion managers and I don't know, a million firefighters, exaggerating, but there are a lot of parts that are active at every moment in time that keep us in the functional self. And if I would put a slide on about everything that is happening in my mind, about everything that I'm curious about and interested in, from the esoteric to the occult, to the nervous system, to the fascia, to there's so many things that are happening. And I feel like there's a point where I'm like, I understand it all. I'm full, right? With the full moon, with the ovulation, and then it all drops, and I have to allow it to drop. And you have to allow things to come and things to leave. And we see the impermanence. We see the waves. So, okay, you tasted this moment, this silence, and maybe it was hard, maybe it wasn't. But the interesting thing, what I noticed with myself in the last few years, is that there are two paths, and some people talk about this, not many. The two paths to accessing pure awareness, or to accessing your true self, or consciousness, or right, however you want to call it, or silence. The first one is it's the direct path and the indirect path. And maybe you know about this, maybe you intuitively know about this, or you've experienced it for yourself. But the indirect path is the path of the human, is the path of, deconditioning the self-structure. That's where we work with trauma, we work with internal family systems, what I trained in. We work with parts work, with shadow work, the patterns in your nervous system. And it's a lot of people are there. A lot of people are there, but I also noticed that there is a trap, because being on the indirect path for too long creates stuckness and loops. Maybe you feel what I'm talking about, but it's constantly healing. You never reach a state where you're just like, I'm good. I'm fine. I can create from this space. No, there's always something to heal. And especially when you awaken, especially when you open your eyes and you realize, whoa, I've been dissociated for most of my life. I've no emotions, no access to my emotions or to my body. And so then we start to, go through everything. And that was my path in the last few years. It's just this and that, and money and therapists and guides and courses and certifications and and it's messy. It's not wrong, but it's messy. It's not a distraction. It has to happen. It's the path of liberation. It's also slow. It's much slower, slow cooking, like a cauldron, where it's the path of psychology, where the psyche reorganizes itself. You're creating a new identity around the true self. And the second path is the direct path. And the direct path is, here we're not interested. We're not interested in the patterns of the character, the inherited beliefs, right? We're not working with the inner critic. We're not working with shame, with toxic shame, with the fear. This is where, we access the state of awareness without any agenda. Like here, there is no fixing yourself. There is no, choreography of like, oh, I need to do this nervous system, to go through this somatic healing for like 10 weeks in order to drop into this. No, there is a way for you to actually, with guidance, to actually access that pure awareness that is behind the witness. And so both are very important and are valid. And we do them unconsciously all the time on the spiritual path. And indirect, I say that it's more like working with your psychology, with your body, with your nervous system, with mitochondria, with hormones. And the direct path is more spiritual. And what we need, obviously, as you can imagine, is to blend them. Because both paths lead to the same place. I just feel like 2026, 2027 is a crucial time for many of us to become even more aware and even more accepting of what is. So in this rest in silence, we integrate. We do not choose, because I've been in both. I've been in the therapy and following gurus and following teachers in that way. And when we feel that bridge, that's when real transformation happens, in my opinion. Okay. Information, words. um, Let me know how this lands for you. Let me know how this lands. And I'm also gonna continue stretching in the meanwhile. And maybe you can let me know, like, I feel more drawn to the direct path. Or yes, I'm very much into the indirect path. Or, oh, I'm curious about how to merge the two. Or I'm actually have been working for the last months on bridging them in my own way. So I'm really curious about your experience. If you want to share in the chat, just like 2-3 minutes so that I can drink more of this matcha. Let me see the chat. I'm mostly curious if you're still present with me, because I don't see you, and if this lands, if this resonates. Okay. I definitely have a stronger experience of the indirect path, but I'm noticing the direct path is coming more into my life. It's very exciting to me. I'm glad to see we can shift between these during the day. Yeah. Very indirect at the moment, and wanting to integrate more direct if possible. Obviously, yes, it is. The indirect path I've been on has definitely made me feel stuck. Like there's no real end to reach. Yeah. I love the meditation because it immediately took me to a more personal place. It was really incredible to see how my mind slowed and allowed me to just be. Yeah, Patty. In some ways, my life reveals to me a clear indirect path, in other ways, a very direct. Because in some ways, I have learned enough already in previous experiences that it's clear in terms of awareness. Yes, I feel that for you. In others, I still have a lot to learn. Yeah, yeah. That's where we all are. It's like, oh, I've arrived, I know. And then it's like, oh my God, I still have so much to learn. I love the blending of both ways because I'm constantly judging myself Oh, the direct path is the better one. Yeah, yeah, we do that, right? The concepts. It's so interesting how the mind works. And since we have a psyche, also the indirect path has its value. I love that. Yeah. Indirect path can be your cause of push from trauma and seeking answers. Yes, Ollie. Direct path can be more as a result of some are more naturally inclined, I think, or introduced to it younger as a part of life. Yes, yes, that is also true. Is also true, and it does require, in my opinion, it does require a certain kind of discipline, to keep at it, to drop into the spaces of silence and stillness more often, especially if you're like very keen to discover, like, what is it? What is it? Have that kind of experience without and letting it go, right? Without needing to have an experience, but just trusting that this is the path of liberation. So thank you for sharing. It's very insightful. And yeah, we are already home. The process that we are going through is already perfect. It's almost like I have this metaphor where you want to open the door of your house and to breathe, the air, but instead of going directly to open it, you go around the house and you start cleaning the house and then start reading a book in the meanwhile. So there are all these distractions, and then you go to the basement, right? The underworld journey. So and then you go to the attic and meet other people in your house, the self, and or you can just go directly and open the door. We're here to have an experience. That's a human, right? The human is having an experience, and that's very valuable. It's very important for us to recognize and to value, to bring compassion, to bring gentleness and to this space. Patty, yeah. I feel that. I feel that. Well, we have to clean up. We have to clean our mind. We have to clean our space so that we feel good to drop into that space of silence. Okay. So something that I wanted to share as well. Where is it? Mhm. So I already talked about the middle way, right? Like the middle way is the way. The middle way is the way to combine the psyche and the spirit, the parts, and also like the whole way with everything, which everything is okay. It's good. It's when we force things to happen, that's when we recognize and we step back. The old identity, new timeline. Um, and we recognize the loops. And I'm not going to go into loops and into the loop cycle, but this is something that we work with, for example, in the silence retreats, like the online silence retreats that I will offer. I want to focus on loops that I see, not only based on your story and your presence, but also in your charts, because in your charts, like in Gene Keys and human design, there are very clear loops that you can see, and I've seen for myself. There is a framework, and we're not gonna go again, looking at the time, through the AAA framework. I love frameworks because, and people that know me here will, I wasn't the healer my whole life, or I wasn't a guide or anything like that. I worked in marketing and growth marketing, growth hacking, and I was a strategist. And I loved the frameworks that we were using there with companies, with clients. And most of my planets, I have a lot of Capricorn. Like if you're into astrology, if you know that, like I have a lot of Capricorn, I think like 6 placements or something. So I see myself as this architect or this reset architect. And I've always created frameworks for whatever I did, even in spirituality. And so this is just another framework. And again, I will send you all this. I don't want to put more information into the not knowing mind. I just started to see patterns, it's like, for example, what archetype is activated, the nervous system, and so on and so forth. And we usually go, also when I do guided meditations, we would go from acknowledge to allow to alchemize. So we acknowledge with a seer, we allow things to be here, and then these two will usually naturally lead to an alchemization of the energy. But then we also, for example, let's say that your intention is to come up with a project, or your intention is to access your sage, to access your gnosis, your wisdom, right? So then it's like when we in Alchemize, we awaken that archetype, or the healer. Okay, like I know how I heal, right? For example, with the rune for today is Fehu, which is abundance, So then we activate the sage. It's like, how do you want to bring in more abundance into your body and so on? So there's a lot of things that we can do after we've accessed the space of silence. So I am going to, by the way, I also had this 8-step. I'm not gonna wear that. I will stop sharing. Okay. um, it didn't make me anxious, but I'm just like, oh God. Okay, Andra. Here you go again. And we have 15 minutes left. So for the last 15 minutes, we have 9 people here. And what I would love to do is to go into breakout rooms. Because whenever I have this kind of containers, especially with the community, it's so nice when we can talk to each other, we can see each other, not in this big group, I mean, right now we're 9 people, but we can go one by one, or like 2, 3 people. So with the breakout rooms, what I want to do for the last 10 minutes is, or 8 minutes or so, is that for the first 3 minutes, you will be in silence with one another. So just in silence. I'm inviting you to keep your eyes open. There's nothing to do or to say or to be. Just for 3 minutes, you notice, you bring your seer online without judgment for what is arising, and you hold space for that. It might be a person that you already know or not. But there, I invite you to have your camera on. And after the 3 minutes, you go into a few minutes of sharing, and notice where the sharing comes from. If there is something that you want, that you think you need to share, or if you can just allow silence to be there and to not share anything if nothing feels good, or you just share like, my back hurts, and then you share something else, right? So just allow the seer to be there in this experience. Okay. So let me create these groups. Assign automatically or manually? Okay, let's go with automatic. Spirit. Oh, okay, yeah. 2, 3 participants per room, so maybe you have 3. That's good. Create, have fun. 3 minutes. I will write you a message when the 3 minutes are done, and then you can start sharing. Just waiting for the others. I'm curious if anyone wants to share just 1-2 sentences about the other person, like what the other person said that was interesting, or that you noticed something about the share of the other person. We'll come back.
I was with Patty and she said she was trying to relax, and then she suddenly felt like I sent her some kind of peaceful horse energy, which I didn't intentionally do or consciously do. So it's kind of funny. Kind of cool.
What you do.
And Holly was sitting there relaxing, and I noticed just as like it looked like she was kind of falling into her relaxation, her little dog jumped on her lap, and I thought that was so cute because I think she felt her vibe. It was really cool. Yeah, it was really cute.
That's cute. Thank you for sharing. Does anyone else want to share just something that came up that was interesting? No need to share. Don't feel like it. Okay. Ah, Teresa? No. Yes,
Yeah,
Teresa.
yeah. The time. No, just Jessie. I hope I pronounced the name correct. Otherwise, sorry. But it was very interesting.
Don't worry about it. My name's Will.
Okay. Oh, then sorry. But it was very interesting because it was very loud, he said, and he found the silence anyway. And it was for me very, very interesting, like the silence you can find in the noise. And yeah, that was very beautiful reminder.
Thank you, Teresa. And thank you all. Okay, well, thank you. I want to share one last thing before we head out. Let me just go here. So, it's the last thing that I wanted to share, which is this invitation. Because what I want to create is this reset retreats. So some of you already know about this. Some of you know why I'm doing this and how much like the silence retreats help me, more guided silence as well. And I wanted to be different. So I wanted to be online silence, and to have it every single weekend like that. That is my desire and my plan, to do it on like a perpetual sadhana. And there are 3 ways for you to join, and it can be like next weekend or the weekend afterwards. Ideally, we go at it together. So it's, like we're in a group, we're in a collective, and we go and do this Friday to Sunday retreats, or Thursday evening to Sunday. And there are different ways for you to join, which is like just the collective path where you don't need a lot of guidance, or you can go more personalized where I sit with you, I have calls with you every evening, or we can go into a deep dive where I look at your charts, your loops, and so on. Again, I don't want to go into details. I will send you all this, but if it's something that you felt like, oh yes, I want to experience a silent retreat, especially one that is a little bit more guided, then this is for you. And also, like, you can book an Airbnb, you can go into another place. I've been doing these retreats for myself, and it's one of the most impactful things, because I'm accessing my own wisdom, and I'm doing this pattern interrupt. So let me know, just write me again, sending you this. And I do hope that today was helpful, it was inspiring. I hope that you got something out of it. I trust you do. And we have 2 or 3 people that didn't make it until the end, so I'll reach out to them. But if you feel like somebody would need this, then of course share this recording. I'll send it to you. And again, if you know anyone for the retreats, very happy to hold space. So Thank you for being in silence with me, beautiful people. And can't wait to see you again. I will send you more information to each of one of you. You're welcome. Thank you for being in silence with me. Have a beautiful rest of your Sunday.
Thank you,
You too.
Andrea.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.